Okay, now as I mentioned, there are a number of off-the-shelf penetration testing or pen test tools that can quickly compromise insecure wireless protocols. We're talking about WEP and even WPA and WPA2. All right, so even WPA2, which is the most secure, quote unquote, can be compromised. There's some tools. Kali Linux is one, or it used to be called Backtrack. If you're familiar, there's some off-the-shelf scripts that can do packet injections and things that allow them to very quickly break those types of encryption protocols. And really what would happen is it allows you to do network sniffing. So even if a specific wireless access point is not broadcasting its SSID, which we'll talk about in just a few moments, even if it's not broadcasting, it can still sniff the wire because those things are being transmitted in the clear. Even though your laptop may not pick it up and say, hey, there's a wireless network available, it's still being broadcast. And if you have the right tools, you can gather that information. So it'll allow you to locate all the wireless networks and show what types of encryption they're using, what types of protocols, if they're open or secure, whether it's WEP, WPA, et cetera, et cetera. And once you find one, you can then capture the packets on that network to again, capture the SSID and so forth. From there, you can send out what's called a deauthentication packet, or you can actually basically knock those clients off the network. So by deauthenticating them, then they're going to reconnect pretty much right away. And as they're reconnecting, you're going to capture those packets, and you'll be able to capture the actual login. It's encrypted, but you'll be able to capture the packets, and it can identify that as login attempts because it's basically what's called a four-way handshake as they reconnect. And once you have that information, then you can basically brute force your way in, or dictionary attack or hash attack, to discover that password. So if it's something simple, you can get through that relatively quickly. If you're using more secure passwords or a stronger password with like uppercase, lowercase, special characters and so forth that wouldn't necessarily be in a dictionary, then it could take longer. It could take days, hours, weeks, months. It just depends upon the strength of your password. Having said that, there are other tools available that can kind of bypass even having to crack the password. Most routers, especially the home office and Soho routers, have what's called WPS. Okay, it's basically allows you to do a push button on either side and automatically configure the client and the server, or the client and the wireless access point rather. There's some insecurities or some vulnerabilities within WPS, the PIN that it generates, that it can go out and attack that at the wireless access point and basically crack the WPA or WPA2 password. So there are some tools available that do not take an extreme amount of knowledge to utilize. So you need to be aware of these things. You need to make your networks as secure as possible.